Hello and welcome to Go Ballistic, the Sun Sports look back at the weekend of Scottish football. I'm Robert Grieve and with me today, Kris Boyd as usual. Good morning, Boydie.
Good morning, Roberto.
Good weekend. A great weekend, Kris. We had Rangers against Motherwell at Hampden yesterday, a huge game for Philip Clement. He got the victory he needed. What did you make of it?
I think it's been typical of Rangers when they've won games of football. I don't think they've looked convincing, but listen, did they deserve to win the game? Yes, of course. I think started the game reasonably well, had Motherwell under a little bit of pressure. Missed a couple of chances. Cyril Dessers again. He's got to score at least a couple yesterday. I thought the one in the first half, when he goes through with the left foot, Robert, he's at least got to hit the target, make the keeper make a save. But and then all of a sudden, Motherwell get themselves ahead. I don't know what Jeffrey's doing. I think that's obviously the winger in him in terms of defend first and foremost. Then when you've got the ball going forward, you do that after you've already dealt with the initial problem. He failed to do that, and Andy Halliday scored at the back post and absolutely broke his heart, didn't it? Broke his heart.
What did you? A Motherwell player scoring against Rangers, but clearly, well, he was apologetic, wasn't he?
Oh, listen, it doesn't matter. I mean, as I said, for me, people going about celebrations, whatever way you want to celebrate a goal, celebrate it. If you don't want to celebrate it, don't celebrate it. Who really cares? He got his team ahead. As I said, arguably against the run of play, but Stuart Kettlewell and Motherwell, Andy Hart, they would have been killing at that moment in time. They had a good. It was a decent goal from their point of view, good ball in, and then Andy with a. I've got to say, Robert, it was a tidy finish.
It was.
I thought obviously Jeffrey should do better, but it was a tidy enough finish from Halliday. And then the second half, Rangers booed off at half time. The fans they are frustrated, but you've got to give Rangers credit. The second half, good goal. I thought Cyril Dessers, in terms of the finish, it was a decent enough finish. And then the winner from Bajrami, good play again from from Cherny in the right hand side. And I've got to say, I thought he was Rangers' best player once again. We touched on it, ahead of the game at Pittodrie. If he had to be missing for a period of time, I think Rangers would be struggling. He obviously missed that game on Wednesday night, and they've been absolutely delighted to have him back yesterday because he is a threat. He plays with his head up, he sees passes. He's already been on the score sheet a good few times as well, and dare I say it, I don't think Rangers can afford for him not to be there right now.
I'm trying to think how you celebrated against Rangers when you scored against them.
Just the same as Andy. So I said, look, I'm not. There's been plenty of people over the last day. Had this. You can do whatever you want. You've scored the goal. Who cares? If you want to celebrate it, celebrate it. If you don't want to celebrate it, don't celebrate it. To be honest, Robert, it's one of those things where a lot of times I just went back to the halfway line. Sometimes you just get bored of scoring goals, mate.
How would Philip Clement have celebrated it? It felt like a huge moment when Rangers got the victory. There was no huge celebrations after the game. I wrote in my match report how it almost felt like a huge amount of relief post-match. How would Clement have felt after the game?
I think you've summed it up there. Relief. That would have been the biggest emotion of the end of the match when you just get through to a final. He's been under a lot of pressure, and rightly so, when performances have not been at a level. You kind of get the feeling now that results are one thing, but performances are now being dissected, and everybody's looking into them, and it's got to be better. But there was a response that second half against yesterday. Again, there was a response for 20-25 minutes at Pittodrie on Wednesday night. It wasn't enough to win the game, and you just kind of get the feeling that Rangers can't keep going behind and then all of a sudden able to up it for a period of time and hope that something happens. I think for me, you're hoping that individuals do something. Cherny's the one example where you would say he's got that little bit of quality, he can step in, make things. What Bajrami touched on Wednesday night as well, I think he's got there's some ability there. You can see him drifting in and out of games, but he's got to add more goals to his game. He done that on Wednesday night. He's done it again yesterday. Things might just be starting to turn for him as well. But I think the big talking point for me anyway would be that Cyril Dessers gets another goal yesterday. Yet everybody's talking about his misses again. he's going through a very difficult period right now. Sometimes he doesn't make it. He doesn't help himself, but he's going to have to just keep playing his way through it. Take some confidence from that goal yesterday. Yes, he missed a few chances. What striker doesn't? But get yourself back into the habit of hitting the target, because all of a sudden, it just takes a goalkeeper mistake, something to happen. And if it's on target, it's going to be your goal anyway if it manages to find the back of the net. But he's got to take a lot of confidence from that goal, his goal yesterday. And, from Rangers' point of view here, we're hoping that he can kick on, because, the games don't stop. We speak about Philip Clement, probably, that relief at the end of the game. But fast forward in a few days, you're travelling to Greece, you've got another huge game.
That's the thing, they play Olympiacos in Athens on Thursday before they play Hearts at Ibrox at the weekend. This is another huge few days for Clement, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't go away. I think that's, when you're at a big club, that's what happens. You're going to be under pressure to win games of football twice a week. You're under pressure daily to improve players, to make them better, to, go and perform in these big games. You look at Thursday night, it's going to be another difficult test for Rangers. I think Olympiacos have started with 2 wins as well and a defeat to Lyon. But Olympiacos at home, it's going to be a very difficult game. They'll fancy themselves to go and win this. I mean, their season domestically has been a little bit stop-start. I think they're fourth in the league as we speak right now. But there will be a good outfit. They'll cause Rangers problems. And Rangers are going to have to find a way to go there and for me anyway, be solid defensively, because that's something that you've got to look at as well. Rangers have been losing goals. There was a large period of time there where they went through having clean sheets. I wasn't convinced even then as well that it was really good defender. I thought a lot of it was bad finishing, to be honest, because there was chances being created against Rangers even when that clean sheet. But it's very difficult to actually pinpoint something and say it when it's clean sheet after clean sheet after clean sheet. And that's what it was for Rangers for a period of time. And they're going to have to get back to that. I think Proper coming out, the team has, Balogun for me is arguably the best defender at the football club. I think he'll go and he'll put in challenges, he'll put his head where a lot of people won't put their feet. So, I mean, for me, I do like Balogun, but again, you're looking at the age and why have Rangers ended up back at Leon Balogun again? No disrespect to him. He already left the club. He's came back and he's now arguably the number one centre back. Our partnership alongside John Souttar. I'll be interested to see what happens at right back now, Robert, because obviously James Tavernier taking off your captain when your team still needs a goal. Casemiro and Sterling have been pushing for that position. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And I think Jeffy going forward, and that's why I kind of felt like Aberdeen a little bit surprised when he was left out, because you'd expect Rangers to get forward at Pittodrie like they did, but there was zero balance down that left-hand side, and maybe if it's something that Philip Clement looks back on now, he would have played him at Pittodrie, because again, even yesterday's, going forward, I think he can be an asset. I think there's some there, but defensively, it does concern me a little bit, but not so much, when he's not playing to the left of Proper, because for me that has just been another signing that has failed to work for Rangers. But in the midfield area, pretty much it picks itself, doesn't it? 2 from 3, and obviously Lawrence went off injured as well yesterday, which is another blow for Rangers. But does Diamondi come back in there? Hadji is he's back in the fold. Obviously can't play in Europe, but he'll be back in the fold domestically.
You touched on it there, Kris, about James Tavernier, substituted yesterday when Rangers were leading a goal. He's someone some fans are critical of for his performances, albeit he's done incredibly well for the club down the years. So where do you stand in him and how he fits into the Rangers team now? Because he's someone who, as I say, he brings criticism at times.
Yeah, he does. I think a lot of it unfairly so. But when you're the captain of a huge football club and that club is not winning trophies, then you're going to come under pressure. People are going to question that. I think for me, James Tavernier, if it had been any other era, in terms of playing with some of the Rangers teams over the years, and what he's brought to the current one, shall we say, the current, maybe even the one before Rangers squad, you know, he would have been right up there with the greats in terms of, you know, that attacking talent down the right hand side, his goals, his balls in the box. Don't get me wrong, he wouldn't have been able to hit penalties if I was still there, that's for sure.
That's a big statement. Up there with the greats, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a Rangers team, if he'd have been playing in, you know, really, I mean, you think back to, you know, people like Dick Advocaat's era in terms of that right hand side. You know, what would they have? I mean, Arthur Newman was a far better defender, but going down that left hand side in terms of what he brought to that going forward, I think James Tavernier going forward is as good as anything Rangers have had, and the numbers prove that, Robert. I mean, defensively is where James Tavernier's criticism has came from. 100%, and rightly so. But going forward, his numbers are outstanding, and you can't ignore that. You know, I think a lot of people focus on the negatives. As a defender, you know, the game has changed. Your fullback role, his numbers and assists over the years for Rangers Football Club have been outstanding. Outstanding. It's coming to an end now, I will say. It's coming to an end, and I think we can all see that. But then I'll go back to the summer, and the mismanagement of the situation probably hasn't helped. I get people who say, well, James Tavernier should get his head down and just work hard. He's the captain of Rangers. He should, you know, get on with it. But I don't think there's anything worse when you know that someone doesn't want you, doesn't feel, you know, as if you can take the club forward. There was obviously the rumours at the start of the season that the captaincy was going to be taken off him as well and given to Jack Butland. You know, I remember when that story broke as well. Whether it was true, it obviously didn't come to fruition. But you look at there was a lot of uncertainty, shall we say, surrounding James Tavernier in the summer. He had an injury as well. But yeah, I'll stand by what I said there, Robert. I think if James Tavernier, once he finishes, I think once he moves on, a lot of people will look back and realise, you know, what he has given for the football club. And had he have been in a better team, I think he would have been looked at totally different from what he is and, you know, the teams that he's played in so far. Because for me, his numbers and his performances going forward have been outstanding. You only need to go back to that European run. I mean, top goal scorer in the Europa League. What he gave Rangers going forward that season, especially, and the season before when Rangers won the league, was unbelievable.
I don't think anyone would doubt that at all. But do you think his standards have dropped since then? In the last few months, in the last season, have his standards dropped? As you mentioned, his goals and his stats absolutely right up there. But have his performances suffered recently?
Him personally?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I touched on it there regarding the uncertainty over the summer. For me, was something that would have played in the minds of anybody. I mean, there's been better players from you know, Rangers, you know, had that uncertainty surround their future, and you know, it's very difficult to overcome, because when you know that you're probably, and we can kid ourselves on, and I know the manager will come out and say, no, we never wanted him to go, but I mean, if you've got your captain there and he's been linked with moves, even after the window's shut, he was still being linked with moves away. And I don't think they were ever shut down, to be honest. You know, I don't think it was a case of, no, he's our captain, he's staying here, and we're going to continue to do what we're doing with James Tavernier at right back. What happens at other clubs, usually that, you know, in terms of you look at your captain and say, that is our main guy. As I said, there was a lot of uncertainty in the summer, and I do think that has had an impact on his performances. Look, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I'm not just, you're speaking of the standards there. I don't look at Rangers and think the standards that were there years ago are there right now. That's just me personally. I've been involved in it years ago, and I witnessed it firsthand. But as I said, I don't think the standards have been anywhere near that in recent times. And listen, if James Tavernier's part of that, then that's his fault. But as I said, for me, looking right now, the performances on the pitch have, you know, they have started to take a dip. But as I said, I'll cut him some slack because of the uncertainty and, you know, that lack of clarity on his position. For me, it would play in the back of your mind.
Just finally on Clement, as I say, he did get the performance, or certainly the result he needed against Motherwell at the weekend. But do you still fear for him as Rangers manager? Is he still under so much pressure right now that his job is still at risk?
But I don't think after winning one game and you go from what it was last week to, I mean, the league table is still the same. You're still 9 points behind Aberdeen and Celtic, and until you start clawing your way back into that, then you're always going to be under pressure because, yes, beat Motherwell, got to a final. That should be the case. I think the fans let you know at half time yesterday as well. They weren't happy with the performance. Obviously, been able to turn it around the second half and happy at the end. So we can't criticise every aspect because the most important thing is the result. But I think it's now past that stage. I think a lot of people are now looking at performances. We keep hearing about this young squad getting better. It's not a young squad. There's some young players within the squad that will get better. The more that they play in front of large crowds and the demands it's placed on players to play with Rangers. But I think there's a lot of things where fans are looking at it. The performances need to be better. We need to see progression. We need to see as if we can challenge Celtic and even Aberdeen at this moment in time. And I don't think that's the case because of that there's for whatever reason I don't think the recruitment's been any good, and some of the performances haven't been great. But maybe the second half on Sunday could be a turning point. Booed off, all of a sudden you need to come back out, win the game. That's exactly what you've done. Move on to Thursday night, see how that goes, and then you've got a huge game. Next Sunday at Ibrox against Hearts as well, which you've got to say another good victory for them at the weekend, and they'll be happy with that.
Well, if it was nervy for Rangers on Sunday, it wasn't for Celtic on Saturday. They had a devastating performance, excuse me, against Aberdeen at Hampden. What did you make of the performance from Brendan Rodgers' side?
I mean, Roger, you've changed your thing. Sorry, I'm not used to it. Robert, I think when you look at Celtic on Saturday, we touched on it a few times regarding the League One. It was 2-0 at half time. If Celtic had got that third or fourth, it would probably have been the same again in the league. I thought Aberdeen got away with one that day. You've got to give them credit and been able to come back the second half, and rightly so, because that guts and determination to go and drag themselves back into a game of football was there. But you've got to say, on Saturday, I mean, Celtic were just a different level. The way they moved the ball, the way they went about their business, on the press, as soon as they lost it, went and got it straight back, hunted in packs. But not only that, the way that they passed the ball around, and you look at the finishing as well. I mean, there was some outstanding finishes in there as well, Robert, and it was. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if Brendan Rodgers, where he would rank that performance, in his time, his first spell and his second spell, because for me it would have been right up there because I thought they were outstanding. But should he have been sent off?
Do you think he should have been?
I'm asking you.
I think it could have happened, but I think the referee probably showed some humility and some leniency that was probably called for.
All right, okay.
Do you think he should have been sent off then?
Doesn't matter what I think.
It does matter for you.
Doesn't matter what I think. Doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Boyd, if there comes a time when people don't care what you think, you're in trouble.
I think he's very lucky.
I think he's very lucky.
I think we've seen Derek McInnes been sent off for something similar at Dens. Was it last year or the year before? Yes.
It could have happened. I think in fairness to Brendan Rodgers, he held his hands up and accepted that he maybe stepped out.
And I wonder if the Tom Fords, I wonder if they've been able to get some studs in those Tom Fords yet.
You got a pair of Tom Fords?
No, definitely not. Those days are long gone.
You're man at next now, you know.
I've got flip flops.
It did feel like a statement performance and result for Celtic, though, didn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, I'll go back to.
You sent out a message to everyone.
Yeah, I'll go back to the league game, Robert, and Celtic would have been hurting after that because it was such a comfortable afternoon for them that first half, and as I said, could easily have been 3 or 4, easily. Yeah, we can give pay Aberdeen credit for the way they got back into it, and you have to. But you kind of got the feeling that Brendan Rodgers was going into that game on Saturday. Make sure that we don't only win this game of football, we wipe the floor. let's show everyone, why we are the best team in Scotland. Let's show everyone that nobody can live with us in terms of not only, we speak about how good our players Celtic have got, but there's one thing that's glaring as well. Good players, when they work hard, are very, very hard to stop. And that's what Celtic are doing right now.
There was a big call, I thought, in terms of the line-up. Cameron Carter-Vickers come back into the side and played again alongside Austin Trusty. Liam Scales was the one that missed out. I was quite surprised at that. Were you?
Yeah, I was. I get the fact that Trusty's obviously come in, towards the end of the transfer window, and it probably takes time to get settled. Cameron Carter-Vickers is a few injured, but Liam Scales has been the one that's been there regularly. I think Brendan will probably touch on it and say that he's played a lot of football. It was important to for him to recharge his batteries and be ready again for the next time he's called upon. Listen, I could understand Saturday night, the Champions League game. Is it Tuesday?
Yes.
Will be, for me, will tell you a lot of where Brendan Rodgers sees his backline. Because if, for me, I think Liam Scales has shown that he can perform. Scotland's easy for him, but even at Champions League level, he's defended well at spells. Yes, that obviously in Dortmund, but nobody could hold their head held high for that defensive performance. But Liam Scales has shown, and at international level as well. He scored the last time for Ireland. So I think the call on Tuesday will be the interesting one for me to see where Brendan Rodgers sees this Celtic team. Does he maybe move up the left back and be more solid there? But then you're losing Taylor or Vai going forward. So I don't know. But the Tuesday night team selection will be the interesting one. Cameron Carter-Vickers plays. He's the best defender. So he plays. So it's one with him for me. Maybe they're looking at Cameron Carter-Vickers, having not played a lot of football recently. They might revert back to, they maybe play Trusty and Scales, maybe. But as soon as Cameron Carter-Vickers is fit and ready to play week in, week out again, it's him with someone else. And it'll be interesting to see what happens.
How do you assess Celtic's European performances so far? It feels like it's a big night for Celtic playing against Leipzig at home. The home games are going to be crucial for them.
I think when you look at Celtic, the result the last time out, obviously, to come away with 0-0. When you look at what Atalanta have done since, and there's some of the results. I think did they go to Napoli and win on Saturday night as well. So they're confident and they're going to cause Celtic problems, Leipzig. But you look at, I think that the going away from home after the Dortmund game probably wasn't what Brendan Rodgers wanted, especially to a top team in Italy, and they were going to ask questions of you defensively. But you then get past the game, and all of a sudden Celtic come back home with a clean sheet. It was an unbelievable point to pick up over there defensively. Showed a lot better resilience than what they did in Germany, and they've got a home game now against RB Leipzig, which will be different. Will be a different game because Celtic will look to go and win the game. But you look at Celtic at home, they can cause problems. RB Leipzig, I think they lost at the weekend to Dortmund, but they have started the season reasonably well. So there will be Celtic. I think that they have to be wary of RB Leipzig and the defensively, but I think Brendan Rodgers revert more to a type of, we're going to take the game to you, and rightly so, because with that crowd behind them, urging, Celtic on a Champions League night, we've seen, big teams crumble, and Celtic will hope to do the exact same on Tuesday.
It feels like it could be a big night for Celtic. Do you rate their chances of progressing in the competition?
I think they've got every chance. They're running around it. I thought this format and the way that the fixtures came out, was kind enough to them to give them that opportunity to go through. They've had two difficult away games, but they've managed to pick up a point, which I don't think you would have expected them to do. Obviously, wiped the floor with Bratislava in the home game, so they were comfortable enough then. They've now got a couple of home games, and I think after these two, RB Leipzig, then Club Brugge, We'll see where Celtic are, but I kind of think they've got a really good chance of getting that that knockout game to see if they can progress to the the latter stages of the Champions League. But these next two games are going to be huge for them.
I'm sure you'll be wishing Celtic well, Kris, when they play Leipzig tomorrow night. I'm sure you'll be hoping that the Scottish team do well. Do you think...
You always want the Scottish teams to do well, always, at the start of the night.
And does that change when kick-off comes, does it?
Depends on what mood I'm feeling.
A lot of people make a big thing of the home support that Celtic had. In fact, Rangers as well when they play at Ibrox. Does that genuinely make a difference, you feel? You've played in European games in Glasgow. Does it make a difference when these teams come? Will the Leipzig players be influenced and affected by 60,000 Celtic fans at Celtic Park?
Well, 100%. There's no getting away from it. We've seen top teams, and I don't include. RB Leipzig are a good team. I don't see they're not a top team, and we have seen top teams come to Glasgow and fold. We have because of the atmosphere, the way that both sets of fans approach the game. I think that then feeds onto the pitch, and the players seem to get a boost from it. Listen, I think Celtic, over the years, when you consider and you look at some of the big results at home, AC Milan and Barcelona. I know it was a long time ago, but you've still got to look at these results and take a lot of faith from them, because nothing's changed from the stadium and the fans, and they'll get behind you if you as players can go out there and put on a performance. Because AC Milan, I think they were the reigning champions when Celtic toppled them. Barcelona, you could argue, that was one of the greatest ever teams ever to play football. I think back to, and I know we drew with Barcelona as well, and then you go back, even recently, beating Dortmund and beating this RB Leipzig team over the two legs for Rangers as well. There has been some huge shocks in Scotland and Champions League nights and Europa League nights, but as I said, for Celtic, I think Brendan Rodgers and his team are in a good place right now, and they hope to take the game to them. I don't see it being, maybe when we go back then, it was more of a sit-in and maybe a counter-attack. I don't see this Celtic team doing that. I think that the talent they've got, they'll feel as if they can go toe-to-toe with anybody, especially at Celtic Park.
You must have enjoyed those big European nights at Rangers from the Ibrox bench, did you?
I say it all the time. It's even that Europa League run, the most important thing, or the fans, it was fantastic. The only thing that I had was a more comfortable seat than the fans. That was it. Just sat there and watched the games, but it was fascinating to watch, fascinating to be part of, and I've still got a runners-up medal in the UEFA Cup, so it wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that bad at all. Well, it's a big week for Rangers against Olympiacos in the Europa League, and as I say, a big week for Celtic in the Champions League. They play Leipzig, and David Friel has been speaking to German journalist Ben Post.
We are focusing on Celtic's match against RB Leipzig on Tuesday night. In Scottish football, we are well versed on Leipzig. They've played Celtic a few times. Can you tell me about the current RB Leipzig team, their strengths or weaknesses, and what we can expect from them next week?
Yeah, RB Leipzig are in a good form right now. The best defense in the Bundesliga. But they have many injuries. But that is no problem, because the squad is very good in the lengths. So when the player came from the bench, they have also an impact to the game. Like in the last days when Xavi went out because his ankle problems. He's injured, and then came in Christoph Baumgartner, for example. And in the front, you have also Lois Openda and Benjamin Šeško. They're in good shape right now.
What is the style that Marco Rose adopts? Is it a very attacking style, as you mentioned, the two strikers who are in very good form this season?
Yeah, they have a mix between ball possession and counter-attack, like that. In the former days, RB's signature was to go on counter-attacks. And now they have more ball possessions. But Marco Rose says always it's not only possible to have ball possession, they go on counter-attacks. They have a mix like that. It's depends on the concurrent in the Bundesliga or Champions League or the Cup. Yeah.
the difference in their form and results from the Bundesliga to the Champions League has been pretty stark.
Yeah.
What is that down to? Is that just the level of opposition in Europe? They have obviously had some tough games, or have they not just managed to adapt to the European scene so far?
Yeah. Yeah, the Bundesliga, they are in good shape, with the best defense, yes, and they scored always. But in the Champions League, there are some little things which don't get out for the teams like Liverpool. When they played against Liverpool, they scored the goal, yeah, and Leipzig had many chances. It was the same like at Juventus or at Atletico Madrid. They had the chances, but they didn't score. In every game, can be a draw, but they lose 3 times, and they always say the same things after the matches.
Do you think this Leipzig team is stronger or weaker than the one that played
Yeah.
Rangers and Celtic the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think they are a little bit stronger since 2 years. In the last match at the Celtic Park with a 2-0 win. They have more different players in the squad. Now they have Xavi, they have Antonio Nusa, the new one, Artur Vermeer, the new one. And the defense grow up with different players. Now in the summer, there are new one, Lucharek Atuda in the squad. He's a strength defender. So I think it's a better team like before 2 years, yeah.
What is the perception of Celtic in Germany? Obviously, Celtic travelled to Germany a few weeks ago, lost very heavily 7-1 to Borussia
Yeah.
Dortmund. Do people in Germany expect an easy win for Leipzig?
No, because of the 3 lost games, they are looking, oh, what will RB Leipzig do at Celtic or in the Champions League and the other 5 games they went out. But they hope they will win in Celtic because they did it on before 2 years. It was a good opportunity, and yeah, it's a different opinion about this match. Some people say, oh, they're not good in the Champions League, and other people say they have to win now, and when they have to win, they win.
Yeah, because it is very important if
Yeah.
like, they want to get through, they really need to have to win this game. It's very, very big for them.
Yeah, they need, I think, 7 to 10 points to go in the final round, so they have to start to win. Maybe in Glasgow, yeah.
So do you think Marco Rose will go and attack? You said it's in between, counter-attack transitions or being very attacking. Do you feel he will attack Celtic on Tuesday night?
Yeah, I think it will a mix like I told you the last minutes. They will go in the offense, but when they knew Celtic will come with counter-attack like that, they can be back in the defense and setting counter attacks himself. So it will be a mix. I think it will be a mix at the Celtic Park, and they will look what Celtic will do. Yeah.
Celtic obviously have a German player, Nicholas
Yeah.
Kuhn, who was in the RB Leipzig youth system. When he was younger, he was very highly rated in Germany.
Yeah.
He captained youth teams. He played in the youth teams all the way up.
Yeah.
Are people happy to see him blossom at Celtic? He obviously took a different route after Ajax and Bayern Munich. He's now playing in the Champions League again. Is it good for the German fans to see one of their own players come to Celtic and do so well?
Yeah, it's very exciting because there are Nicholas Kuhn and Arne Engels, the player from Augsburg. They will be looking for that players because Nicholas Kuhn had his time in the U17, but he also trains in the Profi squad and had a Emirates Cup match at London 2017, yes. But he didn't go out to the squad, and then he go to Bayern, to Aue in the second league, and then to Rapid Wien, and then he will push up. Yeah, and now I heard he will go to the national team when he
Thanks.
went. But it's difficult in Germany. So, but it is his goal to do like that, and I think it can be possible. It's a millennium baby, yeah.
No, anything is possible. Yeah, exactly. And before I let you go, Ben, can I just ask for a prediction for the game on Tuesday night? Celtic against RB Leipzig. How do you see it going?
I think RB Leipzig will win 2-1.
2-1.
Where they need the win. But I'm excited what Celtic will do. I'm very exciting because the new style of Brendan Rodgers and the players like Nicholas Kuhn perhaps, or Arne Engel and the other ones, the Japanese guys like that. So it will be very exciting about the match. But I think 2-1 for RB Leipzig. They have to win.
I'm sure it'll be a good game regardless. Ben, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you very much. A good game like that. Yes.